And there we go. Hey, hi, hello, welcome back, Alexandrian Codex, etc., etc., Stardew Valley. You know the drill. If you're on, like, episode 10 or 11 on YouTube, you should know what you're getting into at this point. Tell your art person that you simp. Ooh, jealous. I'm glad that you're checking out their work, though. Like, I don't know. Talking with a friend of mine, Amy, who... Friending, like, longtime crush, Amy, about her moving to Seattle sometime in the near future, depending on how certain things work out. And we ended up talking about gender, as you do. And she and I are pretty much in the same boat when it comes to gender. We're both technically... we're both non-binary, but we're both non-binary in a, like, I want a robot body way, not in a I want to be Fae kind of way. I think non-binary is often treated as being third gender, right? Like, ooh, you know, non-binary people look and dress and act a certain way because there's an associated aesthetic with it, right? And that makes sense, because capitalism is all about consumption and identity is all about consumption, and the way you share and expose that consumption to the rest of the world. I get it, I hate it, I get it. But there are very notable degrees and, like, flavors of people who are non-binary or identify as non-binary. Some people are, like, hard androgyny is what they want. Yeah, femme-leaning people, masc-leaning people. You have people who go for, like, certain aesthetics, like fae or elvish, right? Then you have people like me that are like, just give me a cyborg body. It's all I want. All I fucking want is to be free of this meat prison. Oh my god, please, right. And that's not to say I dislike my body. It irritates me, but I also like my body. There are changes I'd make to it. Oh yeah, if I had tons of money, there are tons of changes I'd make to it. But, you know, it's alright. It's fine. My feelings towards it are better. Dude needs to make a Twitter so bad. I feel that. There's a few friends that I'm like, hey, are you on Twitter? And they're like, yeah, kinda. I'm like, just fucking do it. Because I hate having to use Facebook to talk to people. Facebook is basically my new phone now. I don't want to engage with it really, but certain people won't leave the site. So it's my only connection to certain people, so I'll use it to talk to them. But, like, I don't want to cross-post shit from Twitter to Facebook. And people go like, Alex, how do you have such a grasp on, like, socialist movements and labor movements in the United States? Well, because I'm on fucking Twitter. It's because I'm on Twitter and I use other things as well to keep track of, like, actual people on an algorithm that's not quite so fucked up. Now, Twitter's algorithm is still tetchy, but it's mostly, you know, newest to oldest. Mostly newest to oldest. Whereas Facebook just works on fucking demon magic and whatever it thinks will get the most engagement. But also, it'll gaslight you occasionally if you've had things go too well or you're not posting enough. It'll gaslight you into lowering engagement until you post or engage with other people's posts a certain amount, and then it increases your exposure again. Facebook's algorithm is incredibly manipulative, incredibly emotionally manipulative, in a way that other social media sites do, but Facebook is far and above beyond the worst. You're on Twitter for porn and porn accessories, and yet you don't follow me. Curious. Dig for treasure. That's not what I do all day. Claim to be an intellectual. Claim to be a member of the tolerant left. And yet, ... Thinking emoji. Bet not. It's one of the straights some people definitely do. I don't know how widespread. You stand a good robo-titty. Don't we though? Don't we though, folks? I don't... Alright, I'll level with you. I have no idea why the fuck people follow me on the hell site, i.e. Twitter. I think I'm funny, but I'm also keenly aware that I am very self-satisfied in most of the shit I do, except when I'm not. I think a lot of it, I try not to read into it because I don't want to care. I don't want to care, just like I don't want to care about performance on this site or how I do when I'm playing Islanders. It's something that I've decided I don't care about. It feels good when people engage, but when they don't, I don't want the lack of serotonin to bother me. Some people definitely followed me. A lot of people really followed me back in the olden I'm gonna be a streamer days. And then I'm like, okay, occasionally I will post politics. And then I mostly was like, I'm gonna post politics all the fucking time and stream every once in a blue moon. That's mostly what I do now. And I sprinkle in horny shit because I'm not a coward. And I'm not creating an alt account for that because, you know what? I stand by it. I'm not sorry. Though, you know, for, if you're creating a public-facing channel for, like, oh, I don't know, a game, or even a streaming platform, or a YouTube channel, or whatever the fuck, you probably should have an NSFW account on the side and not do it on main. But again, I ain't no coward. I don't thirst trap enough? Well, pay me to do it more then. Easy solution. Either pay me, or give me cute shit to dress up on, and I'll do it. I'll do it. You know this. You know this. I will absolutely do it more if motivated by the profit motive to do it more. Or if given cute shit to wear, I will show it off. But I only have so many slutty outfits, right? Well, maybe that's a lack of imagination, right? Any outfit can be a slutty outfit. But I only have so many cute, punk, goth, clearly slutty outfits. And I guess, man, So I was asking people on that latest thirst trap that I posted on, like, Halloween. Is that right? Yeah, Halloween, like, hey, if you like this, which of these do you like the most? Because I'm trying to figure out when people think I'm hot, of the people that I know that I... Let's try that sentence again. Of the people that I know find me hot, why and how do they find me hot? Do they find me sexy or hot aesthetically in same or similar ways that I do? Or are they divergent tastes from my own? And the results have been interesting. It's obviously been mixed, right? Because people are gonna vary. But I found that it's a lot of my, like, slightly femme, but mostly masculine, or traditionally masculine aesthetics. A wider frame. Having your body in a wider frame. More cocky, kind of tomboy, kind of confidence, rather than a demure, not even submissiveness, but like, there's an aesthetic difference there. And quite a few people on the latest set were like, on the first one, I wish you had, like, your hand on your hip, and on the second one, like, maybe your hand on your face. I'm like, I do too. There's a reason I don't, though. I don't have the camera on a timer when I'm taking photos. I guess I should. I guess that's the best way to do it, because that way I don't have to fuck around with the, shutter trigger. But I have a shutter trigger behind my back, and damn near all those are hidden in my hand, with which I'm controlling the camera. Because I'm a photographer first and foremost, and when it comes to photos, and I was losing my shit with that set. I hated the lighting in my room, in my living room. I hated the natural lighting I was getting from outside that day. I hated all my lamps. I was actually just, like, pretty pissed when I was doing that set. I was having fun, right? But it was less confidence and more just like low-key irritation that it didn't look exactly the way I wanted it to look, and I didn't know how to fuck with it to change it slightly to fit into what I wanted. And I'm glad that didn't read over in the photos. A thirst trap is specifically what I'm talking about. Trap typically is derogatory to use for folks who, God, it's such a fucking thing, right? Like trap and femboy and crossdresser and things like that are often used incorrectly for trans people. When I say that I'm non-binary, what I say is, like, my gender presentation, whether it be masculine or feminine, depends on the day. Obviously, I tend to lean more masculine than otherwise. I forgot that we had a ladder here. Oh, great! A third pair of boots. Just slap that on. I don't want those, thank you. Oh, no, 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 no! Oh, fuck. I was glancing at chat and I shouldn't be. I shouldn't be. I've been monologuing, if that weren't obvious, so I haven't been looking at chat at all. Oh yeah, it's definitely a cultural difference. It's so fucking complicated. I mean, it's simple if you only have a one cultural lens, right? Like, American attitudes towards gender have been changing pretty notably. I would say dramatically, but notably for the last 20, 30 years. The United States has been doing a very long overdue cultural shift. Oh god, this is mind flooding. This music is absolutely mind flooding. I like it. I really like this track, but not right now. Get out of here. Where are you? Where are you? Pretzel Rocks, get out of here. Freedom Within by Aphelion. Great track. I cannot feel my fucking brain. Third pair of boobs. Never heard of a cross-dresser being used for trans. So it's often been used by people who don't know that the person is trans. Historically, especially when we talk about the Stonewall riots, or Stonewall Riot, which is a very important history and event in United States history when it comes to LGBTQ plus relations and identity. The woman who threw the first brick, her first name is Marsha, I forget her last name, has been often erroneously described as a cross-dresser. Historically, contemporary sources at the time referred to a lot of the trans women who participated as cross-dressers. And there's been a lot of push back and forth between various people over their identity, and when the people have been able to self-identify, they've self-identified as women. But, again, outsiders have referred to trans women as traps, or cross-dressers, or femboys, or whatever else. And so that's why trap is seen as somewhat derogatory within that community, and within those communities, because it's often a label put on these people that they don't put on themselves, and is often said with a degree of derision or distaste or disgust. Now for me, I don't mind any of those. Trap doesn't do it for me, because trap, you know, trick, right? It's like saying you're tricking someone into it, that you're, there's a certain lack of consent inherent in the word that doesn't sit well with me. The whole idea that, like, oh, I thought you were a woman, but you're not really a woman, is kinda inherently transphobic, right? But if that's somebody, if it is someone who still identifies as a man, and they are just trying to be a trap, and they use that word for themselves, then it's not derogatory. And there are people who do that. Now, you know, a lot of trans people would say, well, I think they're just closeted trans people. You're probably right, but they don't think that they are yet, so you know, it's hard and vaguely uncomfortable to negotiate that. It's easy to say. I feel like a lot of this is reading too much into it when you're not trans and when you're not queer, right? It's really easy on the outside to be like, they're overreacting, right? Like, it's insanely easy to say that. You just, the safest approach, and generally the best approach, is just believe people when they say something bothers them and change. Because it's really not that hard to change how you speak or act. If somebody's like, hey, that hurts or that makes me uncomfortable, don't do it. Just don't do it. Now, if it troubles you or bothers you in a fundamental way, yeah, okay, maybe you can have a conversation then, and maybe that you can have this sort of nuanced, I don't get it, make it make sense to me approach. But if somebody said, if one of my friends or a stranger says to me, hey, I actually use they them pronouns, or she her pronouns, or whatever, okay, no big deal, just I'll change what I'm saying. Yeah, the problem is trying to apply a label of your own invention or your own interpretation onto somebody else based on a lack of understanding. Yeah. Well, problem of assigning closeted trans to somebody, yeah, it's problematic, right? You shouldn't be descriptive or, goddammit, not descriptive. You shouldn't be prescriptive in deciding other people's gender for them. But there are signs and symptoms of somebody being closeted trans that, if you have a study of psychology, of psychiatry, are there. Even though historically in the United States, being trans has been treated as a mental illness, these tendencies have been noted for quite some time. Now, some of the tendencies, a lot of them historically have just been like straight up bigoted trash. But I don't know, dog, there are a lot of similarities. And like I said, it would not be me describing people as closeted trans. It's something that trans people tend to say. Certain trans people tend to say, not carte blanche, but the whole idea of somebody being an egg or having their fucking egg crack moment, that's the whole fucking thing. Yeah, but see, there's a problem. It's not a disease. Like, there's just a way people act when they're trying to hide parts of their personality, a way people will react when they feel afraid of being seen or being interpreted in certain ways. There are certain toxic behaviors that are evident as somebody masking or hiding something. And it can be a lot of different things, right? It's 10:20 a.m., Jody. Whatever you're making for dinner, who fucking cares? It's way too early. Yeah. It's, psychology's weird. And the study of, human behavior is anything but straightforward. Particularly because, like, the basis of psychology is a bunch of fucking crazy-ass white dudes in the 1800s. Well, Alex, they weren't that crazy. They were. The whole idea of an id and an ego is just fucking insanity. Inside you are two wolves.jpg. It's just... It's crazy rationalization of something that they didn't understand. But I don't know. I grew up in a very conservative part of the country. And I still have a lot of friends who are from that part of the country. And... family, mostly conservative family, which blows, which fucking blows. And they'll talk about things like gay rights or trans rights as if it's so difficult to wrap their mind around. It's not. Just respect somebody else's bodily autonomy. If they want to be called a different name or have different pronouns assigned to them, just do it. Just do it. It's easy. Nah, I'm not saying I'm extra radical because of my conservative background. No, I'm extra radical because I live in a dystopian hellscape, and I'm well-educated and intelligent. And I'm not a member of the favored class. That's why I'm radical. I'm radical because of material reality. My experiences with... It's incredibly comfortable to be conservative. Just insanely comfortable to be conservative in this country. Even if, like, you don't financially benefit, like, emotionally and psychologically, it's so easy. It's so easy. Back to the mines, I guess. Inside you are two wolves. One is subscribed to our femboys, the other is subscribed to Ard Handhold Gone Wild. Handhold Gone Wild! That can't be real. That can't... Yeah, hey, golden grape. You know what? I'm just gonna store that immediately, otherwise it's probably getting eaten. Yeah, it's really hard to understand from the outside. American culture is hard to understand from the inside. Our culture is a fucking mess here. So, like, I get your logic and reasoning, and it's solid reasoning. It just, I don't feel as applicable to me. I gotta look. Handhold Gone Wild can't be a fucking thing. If it is, I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna be mad. Handhold. Why is it always Gone Wild? Girls Gone Wild really took off with hand-holding NSFW, 65,000 members. Really took off with branding on this site. Gross. Premarital handholders, this is what you're into, huh? I'm joking because it's... No way is it all anime girls holding hands. No. Like, not even... Come on. It's all anime? It's all anime? None of this is like... None of these are actually people. I mean, it's Reddit. Most Redditors have never seen another human being in any intimate romantic sense, let alone held hands with them. Yeah, it's all anime. It's all anime. God, fucking weebs. Some anime is good. Some. It's like dessert. You get some every once in a while and it's good. Too much and you get diabetes. Get anime diabetes. And turn into a weeb. And nobody understands your references anymore, and you get really obsessed with Japanese culture even though it's really not that remarkable. I mean, all culture is remarkable. It's not particularly remarkable, and you just go down a dark, dark road. It's always anime. Boo! Boo! On this stream, we hate anime. No, I don't, but... I'm very wary of people who are super into anime. Very wary. I've dated too many. Classic anime to fascist pipeline. That's a thing. That's absolutely a thing. Just like the, well, I guess the furry to fascist pipeline is the same thing, right? It's a derivative part of it, because furries are... Oh, they may deny it. Furries are weeps. Furries are related to weebs, at the very least. Genie shoes. That immunity's very good. Am I gonna use it? No. It's in the same genus, if not the same family. Fight me, furries. You won't. Because I know for a fact there are furry Nazi sites. I know for a fact that they exist. This being contrasted with the fucking saxophone solo in the background's killing me. Furry fascists. Just posted Haram. Yeah. No, I feel like I've talked about my gender to death on this fucking channel. I don't talk about it all the time because, you know, I have other aspects of my personality and identity that I find more pressing, like, you know, political identity and class identity. But I'm surprised that anyone's surprised. I'm not mad or anything. I guess we get rid of the red mushrooms and we'll just grow mushrooms later. Yeah. But not gold ones. Keep the gold ones. I think it maybe has come as some surprise to people, the thirst traps I've been posting. Being like, oh, Alex has feminine attire. That's new. But like, I've worn dresses for like 10 years. I've had dresses off and on for like 11 years. And, you know, I've been queer my entire life. I've just been in a place where I can actually explore it for far less time. Because exploring your gender identity in this, again, capitalist hellscape isn't as easy as like, what do I feel? There's so many things that play into it, like accessibility of, like, hormones, for example, or surgeries. And affordability of that is... A thirst trap is a sexy photo that you post on social media. That's it. The idea is that it gets people thirsty, or horny, or thirsting after you. It's used to catch people's attention, or turn them on. Why it's called that, I don't remember. No, it's not weird that you've never been confused about your gender and sexuality. A lot of cis people never are. A lot of people grown in supportive environments never are. Some people grow up very confident, very healthy, and steadfast in their identity. Other people, at various points in their life, like me when I was younger, felt very confident, and then had interactions or feelings that complicated things and made us reconsider a few things. I don't think it's abnormal at all to feel confident. Here, anyway, it's pushed as the narrative of being the norm, but, you know, talking to a lot of people that say that they're straight and say that they're cis, but they're like, yeah, accept this and accept that and accept this. I'm like, there's a lot of accepts in here. Beginning to feel like this absolute isn't so much of an absolute, and it doesn't have to be. No, there are no real absolutes when it comes to human psychology, which is an absolute, so it's contradictory. You gotta love it. Do I want slime? No. What else did it drop? White algae. I will eat the white algae. Yeah, well, being ace is... I've dated... one? Asexual? I'm pausing because I don't want to forget anyone, and I have a bad habit of forgetting people I've dated or hooked up with when I do this. One. I've dated one person who is ace. I've had quite a few friends who are ace. I don't want to... I really don't want to fight you. You're not going to drop anything interesting. I just want the gold. Just get the fuck out of my way. You died for this. Are you happy you died for this? Oh, I need to fucking leave. Goodbye! I'm dying. Goodbye! No. Yep. No. I'm being greedy. I'm being greedy. I shouldn't be. I'm dying because I just stood there and tanked that slime rather than trying to step out of the way. Oh. You know, the words and lenses and structures that we try to use to describe human sexuality, human gender, etc., they're confining, right? Different cultures have had different genders for millennia, for a long time. And third genders or non-genders or bi-gender roles in different societies have taken up different, you know, roles and responsibilities within the social order and structure, but also have been treated in vastly different ways. So for even one culture to be like, a man does this, a woman does this, non-binary people do this, it's often very limited by culture, right? No, I'm not digging that one either. And same thing for sexuality. Like, oh my god! You know who's insufferable? People who study Greek history. People who love Greek history are fucking insufferable, especially philosophers. Why? Because they claim that the sexual and romantic relationships that many older Greek men had with Greek boys wasn't gay and wasn't pedophilia. It absolutely was, and it absolutely was. But academics can get so concerned with making things fit modern conceptualization or not falling into well, you know, canceling, I guess. I don't know. People who stan Greek culture confuse the hell out of me. Except Greeks, you know, you stan it all you fucking want. Makes sense for you. But this idea of like, no. They weren't gay. They just wrote extensively about their romantic and sexual relationships with younger men. Extensively. But haha, just friends. They were roommates. Like Abraham Lincoln had a soldier who regularly shared his bed. No, they were just good friends. That was a normal thing at the time, to have somebody literally be your bed warmer. Was it? Was it now? I don't fucking believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you at all. At all. Historians, particularly Western historians, particularly British and American historians, because that's who I know the most of their work, love to erase the sexual and gender identity of people that they're trying to deify. They love it. Oh my god, there's so many women historically that are like clearly lesbians or even trans, and they're like, nah, she was just a strong woman. They were just good friends. I don't, not so sure about that. Well, he wasn't gay, right? The way he presented was being straight, and if that's how he presented, then whatever. I mean, maybe he was bi. Maybe it wasn't romantic at all. Maybe it was purely platonic. Who fucking knows? I mean, it's his business. But he also sent him love letters and, like, you know, come on, man. I'm not judging, but, like, there's a scoop here. There's something saucy here. At the time, homosexuality was viewed with derision, and it still is, but to a lesser degree. So, for the sake of Mary Todd Lincoln and his surviving kids and his legacy, any queerness was covered up, and the same thing has been done for so many, an unknowably large amount of people in our history, and it's really quite funny. Like Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great is a perfect example of this. Even though it was normalized at its time, like I talked about, for Greek men to have young male lovers, it was abnormal at the time for grown Greek men to have sexual romantic relationships with one another. But fuck, is it Parmenion? Was Parmenion his lover? I gotta look this up. Was Parmenion? Yeah, no, not Parmenion. Parmenion was older. Alexander the Great lover. Hephaestion. That's who. Parmenion was one of his top generals who, I think, betrayed him near the end. Hephaestion. Now, Alexander the Great did have an odd fixation on the myth of Achilles and the story of Achilles, so there's some connections there. But even at the time, even in a culture and society where homosexuality was almost taken for granted in certain contexts, he was derided and treated poorly and thought of malignly by contemporaries because he took so long to take a wife, because he had a loving relationship with a man. And when Western historians started writing about him, they took on that same tone of like, oh no, they were just really good friends. They were battle buddies. They were childhood friends. They were really close. No, dude, they fucked like a lot. And Alexander the Great was probably more in love with Hephaestion than anyone he had ever loved in his entire life. To like an irrational degree. But it's only been in the last 15, 20 years that that's been the way that Alexander the Great has been taught. Is actually being, you know, a hemisphere-conquering pansexual icon. It's crazy how much we assume about history and assume that our understanding is correct, but it's so small and it's so limited and so wildly inadequate. Can I just not pop the... No. Oh, you used that. Oh, fuck. I didn't know those were a use item. I thought you could place them. I didn't want to be at the beach. I don't even want to be here. Okay, well, whatever. We'll go up to the mine this way. I don't think I've ever seen a warp totem in this game. I know that they exist, but I've never had one. And now I regret having one. You're fucking kidding me. Another one? No. You fooled me once, game. Shame on you. Fooled me twice, shame on me. I'm not falling for that shit a second time. You know what? Goodbye. Throw it away. Throw it away, throw it away, throw it away now. Yeah. I'm probably getting into Animal Crossing after this. And I'd stream it if I could, but I can't. So I won't. I'm probably gonna turn into a time-traveling monster who's just grinding for certain equipment. And I'm gonna betray my, my intent of taking this one day by day. Because when Animal Crossing came out, there was such a feeling of, like, community, even though people were under quarantine and, you know, we were really separated from each other. There was a real feeling of community. And people literally playing this game together day by day and experiencing it day by day together and going through the same sort of new interactions, new obstacles, new whatever, and discovering the game together. And then you have me, who had played previous Animal Crossings and knew that if you wanted to, you know, min-max the game, you play it offline, and you fuck with the internal clock and tell it that it's whatever day and hour you want it to be. And then you don't have to wait 2 days for something to be done. You just fast forward and it's done. And then you can turn back time and it'll be done because it's already been logged in the save data, because the game doesn't require a continuity of linear time. Animal Crossing is amazing in that it does not require, by any means, time to be linear. It's incredibly functional with non-linear chronology. But I regretted that because I felt I was getting FOMO from this, like, cultural experience, so I started over and deleted my island, which was just a mistake because eventually a lot of people moved on from the game, and all the progress that I had made was for naught. I regret that a little bit. Just a little bit, though. Because it is fun getting into it all over again, but I am already at the point where I'm like, should I just buy or print out a bunch of fake amiibo cards so I can get exactly the islanders I want? I kind of wanna. Because I sure as hell am not inviting random people through the camping mechanic, because fuck the camp mechanic. It's weird and mildly confusing, and I don't like it. I don't want to randomly island hop hoping to find a specific villager that I'm looking for. I don't want to pay for the online service just to go to other people's islands to find their villager and steal it. Like, just let me have this slightly distinct character. Nintendo, just let me have this meme character or this whatever character. Just come on, man. To quote the president of my country, unfortunately. Come on, man. Yep. Really gonna move a generation and inspire people with that, Joe Biden. Yeah, just come on, man. Ah! I can't make it a day without dunking on Joe Biden. I don't... Conservatives in this country are weak. Weak little babies. Why do I say that? They have a meme that they've been doing for, I don't know, a little while now. There was a football game at some southern college, I assume. I don't really know. I don't really care. Where the crowd was chanting, "Fuck Joe Biden." But the announcer said that they're saying, "Let's go Brandon." So some people on the right have been like, haha, just saying Brandon or "Let's go Brandon" all the time is like a tongue-in-cheek, you know what I really mean is fuck Joe Biden. Just say fuck Joe Biden. Just say it. We're saying it on the left. Just say it. Just say it, you fucking cowards. It's not clever. You're not being clever. Just openly hate someone. You're gonna hate them. Like what you like, don't like what you don't like. I don't even really want it's a higher level sword. It's probably better, but I like the bone rod more. I like the bone stick more. I like the bone sword more. This'll do. I do have to be wary of the damage we're taking because these are hitting harder and harder. Our HP is a finite thing. And I am treating it somewhat, Oh, what's the word here, Alex? I'm not taking it seriously. Yeah, I should go. It's still early, but I don't want to die. So, pop. Next level. Oh, fuck me. Really are thirsty for that senile old man, aren't they? I don't get it. Like, God, the Democrats who love him or pretend to love him, I don't know why. What's the love? He's sundowning, man. He ain't well. It's sad. It's sad. He shouldn't be president. He should be at home with his family enjoying his twilight years. He's not good at it. Kamala Harris is a terrible vice president. I mean, who likes our administration? Not us. But people who don't want anything to chill, oh my god, I should just leave. This is a train of bullshit, and it's gonna get me killed. Yeah, I'm leaving. No, I'll be a big coward. I'll be a big baby. I know. know when to hold him, know when to fold him, know when to etc, etc. It's because he's not Trump and everybody hates Trump. Yeah, they tried to run this election day on "We're not Trump's party," and it failed dramatically, so they're gonna have to try a new line, because that one ain't working anymore. Yeah, sure, you're not Trump, but what are you? We're not Trump! Yeah, but like, what do you stand for? Not Trump? Weird. God damn it. Here, another day. Another stream of Alex being like, Democrats are garbage. At least the Republicans have the spine to believe in something and hate something. Are they good things? No. Republicans are generally monsters in this fucking country, but at least they have a spine. At least they have a spine. Trump was more effective than Biden, right? But, you know, authoritarian figures often are. Fascism is very effective at accomplishing what it means to accomplish. Biden is also very effective at what he's trying to accomplish, if you don't believe a word he's saying. If you look at the financial class that Biden belongs to, if you look at his financial donors, over his long and storied political career, if you look at his historical political beliefs and platforms, what he's actually worked for his entire life, Biden does not give a flying fuck about poor people. Biden doesn't give a shit about the environment. Biden is bought and paid for by pharmaceutical companies and energy companies and insurance companies, actually, as well as a few other financial institutions. They've backed him his entire career. They've enriched him and supported him and given him a life of wealth and privilege. Biden loves to talk about how he grew up poor, or grew up to a working class family. Well, he sure as shit didn't stay in one. And if you look at him through that lens, well, you know, not changing anything just works fine and dandy for the puppeteers holding his strings. Works fine for him and his country club friends and folks he goes golfing with. Works fine for the Democratic Party and their national leaders who are all wealthy people, and certainly works fine for Republicans too. Republicans would like to, you know, skin the sheep a little bit more, draw a little more blood from the working class, but they're not particularly uncomfortable with having Biden in control, because even though Biden can use executive actions, he's not doing that. Even though Biden can overwrite the filibuster, he's not doing that. Even though Biden has a lot of authority and power, he's intentionally and selectively choosing to not use that power while feigning weakness, acting like he can't, just for the sake of public spectacle. Oh, we're trying real hard, guys. We'd be doing so well, golly gee, if it weren't for those darn Republicans. Things could be so nice, but golly, we just don't know what to do about it. Guess we'll do nothing. Guess we'll do nothing. It's not a complicated play, it's not a complicated game, it's really quite simple if you know to look for it, and if you start recognizing it. But God, there's still so many people who desperately want to believe that our government cares about them or has their interests at heart, that are just like, oh yeah, no, Biden's, give him a chance, he hasn't had a chance to do anything yet. He had a chance to send out $2,000, but instead he sent out $1,400. He's had a chance every day to eliminate student loans, to start massive federal nationalized programs to tackle our failing infrastructure, to vaccinate the population more efficiently, to subsidize the unemployed, to provide better benefits for the disabled, to provide shelter for the homeless, to withdraw us from the myriad number of foreign conflicts that we're in, that we're overextended in, and spending way too much money in, to cut our military surplus, to On and 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 on. There's so much he could be doing and hasn't been doing. It's not about giving Biden a chance. Biden's doing exactly what he's wanted to do. Exactly what he promised to do, as a matter of fact. I didn't vote for him. I sure as fuck didn't vote for him. Didn't vote for Trump either. I'm so happy with my bad faith Bernie vote. I knew Bernie wasn't going to win the presidential election, but I'm voting socialist. I'm not a lib. I am never going to vote for a liberal candidate. Liberalism is an antiquated political philosophy, and I don't believe has a place in a modern world, in a functional modern world. If your political philosophy is not based in Marxism or materialism, it's just a lot of feelings and bullshit. Like, oh my god, the amount that Americans try and cope, or certain Americans try and cope and talk about the growth of China economically over the 20th century and into the 21st century, trying to take credit for it somehow, but at the same time demonizing China for it is just like astounding. Like, turns out some ideas that the United States screamed and cried bloody murder about for the better part of a century work a lot better than what we have here. And yes, there are problems. They're no perfect countries, but like doing a hell of a lot better than us. Doing a hell of a lot better than us. And God, it speaks so much to American pride and ego that there's models of countries doing things very well. Better than us. More efficiently than us. And we'll look at them and go like, fuck them. Not, hey, we can learn from them. Hey, we should learn from them. Hey, maybe we should copy them. No, they should be more like us. They're wrong. They're bad. America #1. I'm so embarrassed to be American. I don't want to be. I don't want to be. I want being American to be something that I can feel comfortable in. I don't want to be proud of being American. I don't really want to be proud of being from anywhere, but yeah, American exceptionalism is a great concept, right? And it's a big lie, and we will not let go of it. Absolutely not let go of it. We would rather collapse altogether. It's a perfect reason to dislike Americans in particular. Yeah! No, it's incredibly off-putting, right? But folks who buy into American exceptionalism just, like, are unconcerned with the fact that the world does not, in fact, revolve around us. That we're not the most important, we're not the most populous country. We are, by some measures, the richest country, but also our national debt's pretty high, and, like, how do you measure wealth, really? A lot of different ways, but I'm not here to do a poli-sci stream today. We create systems of measurement and ways to compare national entities and skew them so that we're always on top. Oh, this is gonna suck. Okay, that didn't suck that badly. Like, even American economists talk about the miracle of China over the 20th century. Like, I wonder if, I don't know, a certain political movement had to do something with that. Just a certain economic model, maybe, had some role to play there. Nah. Clearly not. America is special. Totally. Wonder if they've ever heard of Singapore. Yeah, Americans love Singapore. Most Americans that have heard of Singapore love it. Personally, I don't really like police states. That's just me. I don't like Israel. I don't like Singapore. I don't like colonialist projects that set up a group of elites over other people. I don't like colonialist projects that take a minority and put them in power over a majority. I don't like colonialist projects that try to be reclaiming a homeland. Singapore is, like, incredibly a police state. Like, the laws there are insanely strict. Insanely strict. Their laws are incredibly draconian. They're modeled after the best police practices of Israel and the United States. Israeli special forces and police forces train with American and Singapore special forces and police forces. We share the same rule book. Singapore was a trade port of the United Kingdom. And the reason that Singapore is independent and not a part of Indonesia or any other country in the area was because the wealthy elite from that part of the colonial empire stayed there and then wanted more authority, wanted more control, wanted more autonomy. And I'm really oversimplifying here. But Singapore is it's not a people, right? I don't know. Let's take a quick look here. So, yeah, Singapore was in Malaysia for Malaya's Prime Minister in 1961 proposed to make Malaysia a new federation. Indonesia opposed formation. Singaporean government, Malaysian central government disagreed on political and economic issues. I.e., one city had a lot of money and wanted to maintain a lot of privilege. Despite an agreement to establish a common market, Singapore continued to face restrictions when trading with the rest of Malaysia. Retaliation, they did not extend to Sabah and Sarawak the extent of loans, agreed for economic development of two eastern states, talks broke down, abusive speech is rife, rioting became rife on both sides, led to communal strife in Singapore, culminating in 1964 race riots. In 1965, Malaysian Prime Minister, seeing no alternative to avoid further bloodshed, advised the Parliament of Malaysia it should vote to expel Singapore from Malaysia. Singapore's a kind of a fucked up place. I know it's highly conservative, strict laws, extremely expensive, but doing very well for itself despite being an absolute mess decades ago. Yeah, that's what you get when you are a shelter for the capitalists, right? They're a country by and for capitalists, and unabashedly so. They're a world city in a very neoliberal sense, and they're doing quite well by that metric. But it's a lot of wealth concentrated in a very small area, enforced quite rigidly. Like, if nothing else, it's a red flag when fascists in the United States talk about how much they love and respect Israel, even though they're anti-Semitic, and how much they love and respect Singapore. And they see it as a model of what the world should be like. Like, I don't want to live in a police state, thank you. No weirdly large amount of Singaporeans. It doesn't seem that weird, given the part of the world you're in. The hemisphere that you're in. I know a couple. A couple? Yeah, a couple. Not many. Typically, people from Singapore... How do you know someone's from Singapore? Don't worry, they'll tell you. They'll talk about how great it is. And... yeah, I don't know. I dated... For about a year in college, I dated someone who came from a very wealthy family in the Philippines. And eventually... She was white. We an important part of this. Eventually... we had a conversation about politics, quite in depth, where I started going off on the history of the Philippines and being like, it's a colony. It's been a colony. It's still, like, de facto in the American sphere of influence. Like, the way race is treated there is deeply fucked up. the way that communists and socialists were killed and slaughtered and any resistance to American occupation were treated is, like, deeply abhorrent. The people who do well under a colonial or imperialist system don't really want to hear that there's a colonial or imperialist system. They just want to hear that it's great, that they're right, that it's awesome, and that the world should be more like it. Singaporeans don't tell you that they're Singaporean. They don't tell you by saying, hi, I'm Singaporean, but they will be like, wow, this country's so great. Or, you know, Singapore does this well, and your country doesn't. It's probably a primarily American experience because, you know, so much shit is fucked up in this country. But at least in America, we probably have the same reaction to folks from Singapore as other countries do folks from America. There's the baggage that they are elitist here. That's a cultural baggage. Yeah, but, you know, good way to get in a fight is try to gently talk about how a country has done wildly inhumane things to dissidents and minorities, to somebody who is, knowingly or not, benefited from that abuse. Yep. Which is, you know, those in glass houses, right? With, isn't imperialism good? No, imperialism's bad. It's inefficient. Imperialism is the idea that your nation knows how another people should run themselves better than themselves. The unfair and unequal exploitation of resources and labor in foreign markets to their detriment and your benefit. Imperialism is an asymmetric relationship of abuse and use. Imperialism is good for the imperialist. Imperialism is good for the empire. Imperialism is not good for the client states of the empire, for the satellite states of the empire, for the neighbors of the empire, for anyone else. By and large, empires don't do well. And imperialism I'm using here, it's worth noting, is Western imperialism, modern imperialism, not the idea of, like, dynastic imperialism, not Eastern imperialism. The East, particularly China, has a much longer history of empire and a different kind of empire when we're talking about imperialism. And that is, I do want to point this out. I recognize that is a hugely important point, and I don't want to brush over that. Because Chinese imperialism, depending on the dynasty and depending on the historical period, were sometimes more like unequal treaties. Other times they really were treated like protected client states and only needed to give gifts every once in a while, or pay homage, or pay fealty. In a very similar way that a taxation system works. Other times, under other emperors and dynasties, China's imperialism was very much make border get big. Oh god, I lost track of time. Make border get big. Incorporate this, incorporate that. I was thinking imperial equals empire united in strong country, even though technically empires have not been that united. Yeah, well that's part of the facade, the appearance of empire, is that it puts on the auspices or the clothing of strength and power and unity, but really it's about power and unity for the homeland, for the motherland, for the fatherland, for whatever. Not for the colonies. For the colonies, it's about being stripped bare of everything that they have for the benefit of the people back in the motherland. There's definitely some nuance. Well, it's a weird place to wrap up, but that's another hour, and I'm ready to not be staring at the computer because I'm not wanting to kick my migraine back on, but thanks for hanging out, folks. It's been a good night. Like I've been mentioning, I've been streaming around 3 or 4 p.m. I've been aiming for 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to start every day. I've been going for 2 or 3 hours depending on the day, sometimes more, sometimes less. And I'm trying to do that more regularly if you want to catch more of me. If not, catch me when you catch me. No hard feelings. I have no idea what we're playing tomorrow. Next Thursday, I think we start a Gauntlet Dark Legacy playthrough with an old friend of mine, if we can get that working, which is a ton of fun. But this is gonna be it for tonight. Thanks for hanging out. I guess we should have the please stand by, not the starting soon. No, I'll catch y'all tomorrow. Until then, doodaloo, take care, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye!